Thank you for joining me. The introit for Sunday, November 29th, is from Zechariah chapter 9 and Psalm 25. Behold, your king is coming to you, righteous and having salvation. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O my God, in you I trust. Let me not be put to shame. Let not my enemies exult over me. Indeed, none who wait for you shall be put to shame. They shall be ashamed who are wantonly treacherous. This Sunday is the first Sunday in Advent. Traditionally, it marks the beginning of the church year, and for good reason. During Advent, we are taken once again on the journey to see Jesus' birth. And Zechariah reminds us of this at the very beginning verse. Behold, your king is coming to you. This statement is meant to be one of comfort. In this instance, the king is not someone who should elicit terror. Instead, it is a statement that should bring peace. And why might that be? When the king arrives, it is a moment of joy. When the ruler and leader is in place, it is a sign of safety. It's a sign of stability. When the king is on his throne, it is a sign of strength. And the statement that we are given is that the king, this king, is not like other kings. This king not only brings all those things, safety, strength, but he also brings with him righteousness and salvation. This king will not abandon his post. This king will not rule corruptly. His nature will not allow him to tolerate injustice. Who he is and what he does is good. This is indeed a joyous statement. And the nature of the king leads his followers into action. The psalmist states, "Oh my God, in you I trust." This year has been so strange, and it continues to be so. In the best of times, we can have a hard time trusting in our God, let alone the worst of times. Trust in God can be difficult. And what I find is that we tend to put our trust in other things. There are plenty of people who put their trust in the experts and the doctors during this pandemic. There are plenty of people who put their trust in this vaccine. There were and continue to be plenty of people who put their trust in a president. But the funny thing with trusting in things other than God is that trust always changes. We might put our trust in our current leaders, but that will only last for a while. We will shift our trust onto someone else. Promises will be broken, and there will be a desire for the next one. Maybe it will be better when we have a different leader. Our trust can be in the experts or this vaccine, but that will only last until the next dilemma in which the world finds itself. We might put our trust in education and understanding as a way to eliminate prejudice in the world, but then another problematic worldview props up that ignores all the current sensitivities, and we go looking for answers somewhere else. Instead, we are reminded that it is best to trust in the one who does not shift with culture. We are reminded to trust in the one who in his nature is right and compassionate. And when he is the object of trust, the things happening around us or the things other people do does not shake our resolve. Instead, it works to prove that our trust in God is well placed. As we enter into Advent, we are brought once again to the stable. We are brought to the birth of Jesus, where the King comes to us as one of us. And he does so for a purpose, and that purpose is to do something about the troubles that we face. He brings with him salvation. And our trust in him will not be put to shame. And as hard as it can sometimes be to believe, Our trust in God is well placed. It is always well placed. Thank you for joining me.